A lot of it started with Harvey Weinstein and English Patient Zero when he started buying up the Oscars for years. And after 2000, what happened? Well, the only movie that won between The English Patient and Now that anybody's ever heard of before, besides Titanic, was basically the Return of the King. Since then, name me any movie that's won Best Picture in the last 15 years. I'll wait.
Sharknado.
Nope.
Sharknado, you mean?
You didn't even say it right.
Damn. Can't even get the joke right.
That's my point is like, and I was so pissed off. I can't even remember what won last year, but the only reason I remember Parasite won the year before, or whatever it was because I'm like, how the fuck did that beat, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood? And it's already a foreign film nominated in the foreign category. What's it doing in the main category? But that's a whole nother discussion.
Well, I mean, this is a Chris discussion in terms of is it the level of self-importance of the people who are voting? I mean,
right.
Well, 100%. And look, I could do a whole thing talking about the Oscars. The whole To Leslie controversy with what's her name, Andrea Riseborough. Like, that to me is just irritating because she did a grassroots campaign where she had, other people in the Academy show the movie to other people in the Academy. That's it. She'd spent like no money. And these Oscar campaigns, it's not an exaggeration to say you buy awards. If you even want to be considered for an award, you're spending millions of dollars on Oscar campaigns. Look, I go to the parties. I see this. I see how much money is spent. It's an ungodly sums of money being spent to lobby. It's no different than lobbying in Washington. You think lobbying in Washington is corrupt? It's the same thing with awards. And fine, that's how the industry works. I like to think that when people, actually sit down to vote, that they vote with, their heart in terms of like what the film is that they think is truly the best performance or best in whatever technical category. But I have to believe that money is an influence. Money is corrupting in this. So it's interesting. I recently subscribed to the Oscars YouTube channel. I know, weird. The Oscars has a YouTube channel. I think you guys get way more views than the Oscars channel. But what I found fascinating was they're running clips of old Oscars, like Gene Hackman getting an award for Best Supporting Actor for Unforgiven, or Clint Eastwood getting an award for they're just running old clips from the Oscars. And it's amazing how different the show was, how much classier the event was, how gracious everyone was, how there were no lecturing types of speeches back then. It was, there were off the cuff, moments. Billy Crystal, I think, was probably one of the best hosts of that era. But man, it has changed into such an unwatchable.
It used to be almost like a roast too. I remember.
Partly a roast and like, hey, let's have fun and we can laugh at ourselves.
Sasheen Littlefeather's the only time I really remember anything really like the modern era where somebody went up there and preached at the audience, and then she got booed off the stage.
Yeah, and then also it was debunked because she's not even Indian.
Yeah, well, there's that whole thing too. Yeah, that came out after she passed, and
But it's just crazy how this is. I'm only bringing this up because the Grammys were last night. I didn't even know it was on. We were talking about it before the stream. I didn't even know the Grammys was on.
Nope.
Somehow it's on social media. A couple of people like making mostly comments about like how weird Madonna looked, or
it was all over the trades this morning.
Yeah, Sam Smith's performance. I'm sure the ratings were pretty low. It started out with just this weird I just don't know what who is the audience for this show now. And the audience for the show is the people sitting in the room. That's it. The audience for the show are the people sitting in the room at the show. It's not the audience at home. I feel there's very little, considered about people sitting at home watching this. Yes, award shows are shows. They're meant to be entertaining, but my God, they just completely are just, trying to please the people in the room, and that's all.
Well, it was kind of like what I found so funny about the whole Oscars So White campaign. It's like, you guys are the Oscars. Like, what the hell? Like, why are you trying to make us feel guilty for your votes? Like, like you are the ones that vote for these people. It's your peers, not us. It's not the People's Choice Awards, And that's the part of the problem is and I think that's exactly it. And I said that we'll probably see a bump in the ratings this year, Chris, simply because people know the movies, right? There's at least a half a dozen movies that are nominated for Best Picture that most people have seen, or at least heard of in the very least. Unlike, not, since the 2000s. And I can see that all the movies are usually these little lesser known prestige pictures that the Academy seems to think and this goes back to the woke bullshit. They think they're being virtuous by giving these smaller films a little bit of attention. Sometimes it does. I'm not saying it doesn't, but other times, like I just said, I've not seen one person yet name a movie in the last 15 years that's won Best Picture in the chat. A bunch of people brought up Departed. That was 2006. So that's yeah.
I will say this. I don't know if you watched SNL this weekend. Most people didn't. But it was particularly good. Pedro Pascal was on. They did a great sketch about Mario Kart, taking the next big video game franchise and making it dark, starring Pedro Pascal as Mario. It was hysterical. And they did a sketch, which was a game show that basically showed how out of touch, Hollywood is with the traditional, average moviegoer. It was a comedic sketch. I find it. You can't show it. If you show it, you're going to get copyright. You're going to get not a strike, but it's you can't show it, unfortunately. But this sketch is hysterical. It's basically just asking. The question was, name a movie in the last 5 years, any movie, and none of the contestants could name one.
Nice.
Wow. It was really fun. It was
nice.
It was great. It's a great sketch that just shows like Hollywood is so out of touch with the average moviegoer, which explains why the box office has dropped in almost half. It's almost half of what Hollywood used to make in theatrical is what they're making now. So
that's clever.
And what's sad is, like, you look at the movies that are being big, most of them are movies that are sequels or, franchise films.
Right.
The few in between that have been, actually gaining any ground. I mean, we've had a few smaller films like Megan poked their heads out and managed to make some money. It sounds like Knock at the Wood or Cabin in the Wood, Knock at the Cabin or whatever this last weekend did pretty good.
Did you see it? I saw it.
No, I didn't. It's what?
I saw it twice.
So is it good or okay?
I like it. Look, is it going to change my life? No. Is it a great movie? No. Is it a fun episode of a Twilight Zone extended to feature length through the lens of M. Night Shyamalan?
I was gonna say it's basically every other M. Night Shyamalan movie.
It's I'm not gonna say it's top tier M. Night, but it's definitely not lower tier.
So it's like Signs.
It's like Signs. Yeah, I enjoyed the movie. And Dave Bautista, that guy is a powerhouse. That guy as an actor will get some sort of acting recognition at some point. His performance as this sort of gentle giant Leonard is spectacular. He's so good. I mean, and also what I enjoyed about the movie, hour and 40 minutes, doesn't overstay its welcome. It's not north of 2 hours, 2 hours and 20, or so many movies are these days. And it starts from the beginning. There's no like, let's get to know the characters. It's like, nope. It starts from the opening scene of the film. It just starts with the concept. You're not waiting around for stuff to happen. It's I really had a good time. Now, it's another movie that has it's a gay married couple. Although I would argue, because we haven't discussed this, I would argue that the couple in Knock at the Cabin seem to be conservatives. They're gun owners. They're going on vacation, not in the big city, but in the woods. They dress conservatively. They have a family. Family values are associated with
culture.
So it's a conservative gay couple. And I would say even that Bill and Frank might also be considered maybe a conservative gay couple. Just throwing that out there as fodder for.
Well, Chris, it's funny you say that, because was it you, Culture, or somebody on one of your shows that was just recently, or was it one of the comics where they're talking about most gay men now are like conservatives, or at least over 50%.
I think depends on the age category.
That's true. That's true.
I got slayed because I've been involved in supporting the gay community since when I marched against the bathhouse raids.
Since you were a young gay man
in the 70s. So I was part of the protest for gay marriage. I mean, like, I supported the gay
Right,
community
right.
quite actively. I was involved in it. I helped, gay counselors get elected in Toronto. So, I lived in Gay Town in Toronto at Church and Carlton. So, what's funny is I mentioned something to that effect in terms of this whole, new nuance to LGBT plus stuff. And then I got accused of being part of the old gay community.
What?
It was so funny because I've worked with, I know a lot of people in Bay Street, our financial district, who are, multimillionaire CEOs of billion-dollar corporations. And, oh no, those gay people, those lesbians and gay men don't count because, just because they've been successful and they know how to run a multi-billion-dollar corporation. No, they don't count. So we live in such a bizarre world.
Yeah.